Hi guys, Sandy Ingram here. Breaking news. It's 9 o'clock where I am in Eurasia. However, this is news that you need to understand and know right now. Some of you may have heard that Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz again. If you've been listening to the news, then you know that this is really, really bad news for Iraq. But this breaking news video is to let you know that Iraq is ahead of the game. First, let's hear the news on Iran closing the strait. Then I will explain to you what Iraq was already doing and why.
Look, we're hearing from the Iranians, and I think to some extent we saw this coming. The Iranians say, and this is being reported by the Iranian news agency Mir, that they're going to take action over what's happening in southern Lebanon. They see it, as you know, as the United States' responsibility to end Israeli military raids. And they say that because that hasn't happened, in response to that, Iran is going to close once again the Strait of Hormuz. So that's where we are. Let me look at the language. In view of America's blatant breach of promise and breach of contract regarding the failure to implement the very first paragraph of the Memorandum of Understanding. That's something you and I have talked about extensively. Back to this language from Mir News. And in response to the ceaseless and continuous violation of the ceasefire by the Zionist regime in southern Lebanon and the merciless killing of hundreds of thousands of the oppressed people in this land, it is announced that the Strait of Hormuz will be closed to vessel traffic. So, James, I think we can't overstate how significant this is.
You should know, Iraq's oil minister announced it is trying to restore production to more than 3 million barrels per day within 60 days after regional conflicts severely disrupted the oil output. Now, production reportedly fell from about 3.3 million barrels per day to roughly 1.3 million barrels per day during the crisis. Now, why does this matter? Oil revenue funds the majority of Iraq's government budget. Restoring production helps to stabilize government finances and supports economic reform efforts. Before I share with you Iraq's plan, you should know also that the Prime Minister, al-Sadidi, is expected to visit Washington in July. Now, this is a big deal and will include talks surrounding investment and business cooperation in Iraq. Yeah, we've heard that over and over every time there's a new PM. But guys, this is what is different. The channel is reading between the lines and agrees with other IQD YouTube channels that this issue of forcing disarmament of the Iran-backed militants has to do with investment opportunities. And we know foreign investments is one of the keys, along with security, corruption, and banking issues before the currency adjustment can take place. In the membership, the channel broke down the peace agreement between Iran and the U.S., which appears to have gone to hell over the Israel and Lebanon issue. From that agreement, we could easily see how the same plan could render Iraq in a position for currency adjustment.
Is preparing to export crude oil and naphtha through ports in Syria, Iraqi and Syrian energy officials and refinery sources said. That's after the Iran war cut off its main Gulf shipping routes. Iraq's efforts to diversify its export routes, including through Syria, will continue even after the Iran war ends and shipping returns to normal, two sources said. Before the war, Iraq mainly exported its fuel oil from the Gulf port of Khor Zubair in Basra, southern Iraq. Since the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz, Iraq has exported fuel oil through Syria's Mediterranean port of Banias. Within a week, Syria plans to open 2 extra unloading areas and other facilities in Banias to handle Iraqi crude oil and naphtha, according to a Syrian energy ministry official. Ahmed Kobbaji, deputy CEO of the Syrian Petroleum Company, said last month Syria was increasing its unloading and re-export capacity for Iraqi fuel products. Kobaji said Syria is also working on reviving war-damaged pipelines to replace the tanker route. For now, tanker truck exports are expected to begin in early July, Syrian and Iraqi officials said. But with highways damaged by years of war, the route is fraught with risks. This is Ahmed Saddam of the University of Basra.
The biggest challenges may lie in the dangers of land transportation, maybe in the event of the unknown, maybe in some of the problems that occur on the roads leading to Syria, especially tensions and upheaval in areas along transport routes.
Under President Ahmed al-Shara'a, Syria is seeking to reintegrate into the regional and global economy. Decades of Assad family rule and nearly 14 years of war isolated the country and devastated its economy.